I'm running out of space. We don't get enough Star Trek 3 love on the show. Always with the Star Trek 5 questions instead, but a lot of love to some great lines in Star Trek 3. You should take the Vulcan too. No. Why? Because you wish it. That's just cold. That's I like it makes me smile. I like the Christopher Lloyd Commander Krug Klingon portrayal. It doesn't get what it deserves. It's a lot of fun because I mean Lloyd just brings so much of this character. He got to act in ways he never gets to act, and I'm sure he enjoyed it a lot. And so much against cast. I'm still happy. This part. I'm sorry. I'm so geeked out. I received these quotable cards, and I got a whole bunch of decks that I shuffled, and we'll see how we can integrate them into beginning our trivia showcase. And what I was curious about, and okay, we're going to appreciate this great line for a couple more seconds because it's one of the great Trek lines that we should all use one of these days. I don't want to do that. Why? Because you want to do it. There's no give and take there with Krug, and then he gets pushed off the cliff because he had enough of him. And these are double sided, right? So not a lot of information. This this line in the response is far more relevant than it was ever intended to be because we can apply this to a little bit of what's going on in the world. But I'm gonna leave that one alone. But I'm gonna keep that in mind. You can enjoy that too. So some great tidbits for Star Trek 3. And I'm waiting for the Star Trek 3 trivia card so I don't have to be all salty. I'm trying to get back the good mojo. So let me just, I feel like I'm still not running into it like I should. Come on, Star Trek 3. How many have I have to go through? First Contact TV show. Figure I'm going to have to make another cut here. Come on. It's impossible. All these cards, which I shuffled. And I've gone. There's another Final Frontier. What's going on with original TV series? Final Frontier, Wrath of Khan, motion picture. Well, that'll be nice for some other time. Undiscovered Country, Next Gen, original series. Finally, Star Trek 3: The Search for Spock. Let us enjoy the theme of the day. And I want to get back to the big book too of the whatever questions we have. But yeah, the quote card got me to where I want to get to for what may be our first Star Trek 3 trivia, springboard, showcase, what have you. Still don't know if I'm happy with this angle. Might change it around some other time because I got a couple things going on at once here. So let us begin. All right. Her first name's Robin. She took over the role. Why am I blanking? I want to say Curtis, but that's someone else. So it's Curtis, right? Robin Curtis. But Robin Curtis had the task, I suppose, not an enviable one, to follow up Kirstie Alley, who had kind of gone up to her stardom or whatnot. But a fine enough job. And I remember a beat in, again, physical media folks, listen to Nimoy's commentary on Star Trek 3. And it's a mixed bag with the commentary because you have Nimoy, you have Robin Curtis. I'm going to feel bad if I've been butchering it, so now I got to turn it around so I make sure I don't butcher any names. Yeah, it's Curtis. Why is my mind somewhere else? Let's make sure we can read these questions too. Anyway, the commentary for Star Trek 3 is worth a view if you have not or nor have ever experienced that. Let's get it in here because Robin Curtis is discussing the end of the movie where Spock's meeting all the crew again, and she's there, and obviously she's kind of the odd person out here because she's the guest starring in someone else's movie. But you had that experience in the movie where she has to pawn far with the evolving Spock as a boy. So anyway, you know the scene I'm talking about, where they meet at the end. You can hear the music cues happen, and all the crew's so happy. But he looks at everyone first before they circle around him. So the whole crew's lined up, and you know Saavik's going to be on the end. And I don't know how much acting Robin Curtis had done by this point, or how she was cast, and that doesn't matter. But it goes to how Nimoy was directing this film. And I'm butchering the anecdote, but it's a good one. So when you watch the scene, you'll notice that Robin Curtis looks up and looks down and glances kind of up and down, and that was a good cue on Nimoy's part, because he pushes Robin to say, you know, I want this particular reaction. Tell me how you feel when blank happened, and then she makes the expression, and Nimoy's like, yes, that's what I want to see here. So the nice thing about commentaries is you know, they do give us some insights on direction if we have no other way to understand direction, and you get a lot of that in Trek. That's the anecdote that I didn't really do justice to, but if you have the Blu-rays, the physical media, go and check out that scene, hit on the director's commentary, and you get to hear the anecdote yourself. So it's well worth it. Well worth it. And it was a credible movie. This movie doesn't, because later on, and I've said this before, and I'm not the first one to say it. The book, which I don't have in front of me, that I'll put down on the resources as a source. It's called The First Star Trek Movie. She makes the argument, and I've cited her before, that this is kind of nonsense with the odd number of films being bad, because that didn't take place until after Star Trek V. And I'm not sure it holds up after Star Trek V either, because Nemesis is an even number movie, and I'm going to leave that alone for today. Next question. Let's get some Krug back on this too. Okay, so this wasn't laid out, but this is where she ended up. So for the plot itself, I don't know if Uhura has a rank of commander, right? But she requests her station to be a transporter relay somewhere, because she needs to be in the transporter relay so that Kirk can get up to the space dock and steal the ship. So that's the kind of not great posting that she requests for herself before they steal the ship. Now, Uhura doesn't go on the ship. She stays at the station because she puts some guy in the closet there. But she manages to get the transport out to Vulcan. So she's there at the end on Vulcan. I've never followed that beat before. Why couldn't she have? She could stay. She could steal the ship too. But you know, I have to read more about the specifics of this movie to see. Hey, what was the intention here to leave Nichelle Nichols not on the ship to go to the Genesis planet to have all that fun stuff happen? But she makes it back in the end. So there we are. And obviously she's in exile as well, and you know she's going to 1986 Earth to save the whales in the next movie. So I mean she's there. Well, okay. So as a writing professor, I hate the word being in any sentence, but I'm gonna let that go. What are we talking about here? What was the Excelsior being called? What? Okay, I'm gonna let that little OCD just back away, and try to get a guess at. I can't just keep playing with my tie like Nervous Tie Day. It was an experimental transwarp starship, NX-2001. I don't understand. What do you want from me? Question. If my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a wagon. That's what Scotty called it. Write your question a little bit clearer. I mean, I would expect this from the like 1975-78 deck of TOS questions, but what? All right. So, the intention was to turn it around at the end, but this one invites me to engage the answer before I wanted to. So we're going to do that. What was the Excelsior being? Because it's a bad, poorly written question. Don't write your questions like this. Come on, man. I'm not gonna. It's the salty week. That's just how it's gonna happen. The All right. Well, I got the transwarp stuff right, but yes, when we first see the ship, Kirk's like the great experiment experience too. And of course, the transporter room was at the Old City Station. Where the Old City Station was, we do not know. Just imagining. I never read the novelization to Star Trek 3. I think it was like Vonda McIntyre might have written that one. One can only hope for an extended description of the Old City Station. That's something I would have written. Like, give it a whole history. Why is the Old City Station here? Where is the Old City? What's going on? That would be fun to do. But yes, the great experiment. Okay. Experiment. Okay. Flipping it back. What do Vulcans call their living spirit that can be transferred to another before death? I'm only doing a dramatic pause in case there are anyone that's playing at home. There are any people who are playing at home or wherever you are. Katra. And, after this movie, they really made something out of this whole Katra. They have Katra arcs where you somehow the living, and we do the remember, and then we mind meld with the arc, and then we can collect them in a catacomb or something, and then folks can Congress. Maybe Congress isn't the right term, but folks can meld with the living memory of someone. Again, my favorite Enterprise episodes from season 4 were the Vulcan arcs, where you see Archer carry the Katra of Serac. Of course, they get that from the Ark, and so on and so forth. So it's a fine concept that gets a few shout-outs once in a while. I don't know if it's ever explored fully, but we even see it in the 2009 Trek movie, where right before Vulcan implodes from the dark or the red matter or whatever it is, they're trying to save all these Katric arcs. I don't know if they save a lot or not, but there we go, the Katra. So an ingenious plot device to bring back Nimoy. And I think we have, I'm blanking. I got his name before. Is this not coming to me? Harve Bennett. We have Harve Bennett to thank for this, for this concept. And some writers have really taken it places. So that's a nice, unique element of the Vulcans. All right, so we find out in Star Trek 3, before his untimely death, that David Marcus is a screw-up and a cheat. Much like his father. Oh, that's the whole point, right? Because then Saavik brings up the parallels between taking shortcuts, which is what Kirk did in his Kobayashi Maru test. But suddenly David Marcus, because they couldn't get the actor who played Carol Marcus to come back for this. Suddenly it's David Marcus's project, and he stuck some proto matter in there to make it all unstable and undoable, and that's why everything falls apart and breaks up, and we have our drama for the hour and 45 some minutes that we have our movie. Proto matter is the answer. It wasn't David's answer, but it was the answer. Science vessel dispatched to the Genesis planet was the USS Grissom. And here's something else to learn from the commentary. And it's something that I think it's in the wrong place in the commentary. And it's not really noticed when you're watching the movie, but you notice that Captain Esteban of the Grissom keeps calling and Starfleet constantly for orders. It's like this is a guy that cannot make a decision on his own. So it's always contact Starfleet to see what they want me to do. Contact Starfleet to see what we want me to do. This and that and the other thing. And I don't know quite why Nimoy wanted to have those beats the way they were. I never quite got the answer when I watched the commentary. And fortunately, the bad news about this, which Nimoy also revealed, is the upholstery on the chairs in the Grissom's bridge were were salmon or pink. Thought that was cute. That's not the best thing to do nowadays, but they wanted the whole idea this would be a kind of a passive captain, and that gets troublesome, and it was a beat that was not necessary, because at the end of the day, I don't think any of his actions leads to the destruction of the ship, except sure he should have put the shields up earlier. And then, one torpedo takes out the whole vessel. Issues exist with that. But that was the late Grissom. I don't know what the class of the starship was for the Grissom offhand. I'm sure it had a class. It wasn't the Grissom class. And we do see it again, of course, because that model's been paid for. We're going to see it again in Next Gen. But not as much as we see the Excelsior model, of course. Or even the Miranda class vessel, the Reliant from Star Trek II. Oh, that's the card. That was our day with Star Trek III. These weren't bad questions. They're good Star Trek III questions. Hello, quit the cards curling. Great movie, great quotes. Let's talk about Star Trek III some more in the future. Maybe we won't have to search that long to find it. But a Star Trek movie that doesn't itch, right? Doesn't lead to saltiness. So I'm gonna call this one a pretty good round of Star Trek 3 questions. Go enjoy. It's up on the top of a good Star Trek movie. So let's do it. And we have not had enough of Star Trek 3. Where do I stop this?